You know, those surveys of professions. What do you think of doctors? What do you think of nurses? What do you think of journalists? What do you think of lawyers? Well, we got one here from Roy Morgan Research Outfit. They rate themselves public opinion pollsters down at 11, right near TV reporters down with the real muckrakers. But the nurses and doctors always rate up the top, and that's fair enough. They do a great job on the whole, 80s and 90s and so on. Then pharmacists are number 3 here. School teachers, they're right up there. Dentists, for some reason, they're not there for their undercharging. Engineers, of course, because if engineers behaved like accountants and lawyers, bridges will be collapsing all over the place. Now, of course, we were always slightly mystified as to why lawyers do so well, rating 26, while poor old journalists are rating TV reporters 11. And here we have newspaper journalists, that's my category, I guess, at 13. Below lawyers, below even financial planners. To give them credit, in the public esteem, they are still rating well above federal and state MPs. Politicians are right down there, in fact, just above car salesmen and advertising people, which in my view is a little unfair on car salesmen and advertising people. Poor old car salesmen come in right at the bottom, even below real estate salesmen. Very, very unfair. If you were to rate these professions according to clout and not public esteem, you would have a completely different result. And we say that because there are these laws that are meant to have come in 16 years ago to cover lawyers and accountants, but they still haven't come in. And that's the tranche 2 of the anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism financing laws to capture money launderers. Now, they brought in the first tranche in 2006. The Liberal government a long time ago, and successive governments of both stripes have dithered ever since. And every time we ring them to find out what's going on with the second tranche of money laundering laws, they say we're engaged in stakeholder consultation. They've been engaged in stakeholder consultation for 16 or 17 years. Why is this? We're falling behind the global. We're right down below Pakistan in terms of terrorism financing and money laundering. It's a disgrace internationally. And as we can see by all the press, the deluge of Chinese money coming in, driving up real estate prices at the high end. We are a money laundering paradise here in Australia. But of course, who's holding it up? The lawyers, the accountants, and the real estate people, because they still have a carve-out, because they are still in stakeholder engagements with government. Now it's Mark Dreyfus's mob, it's the Attorney General's Department, who is said to be beavering away for the past 2 years, or almost 2 years. Beavering away. Well, we think that beavering might be running into some pretty grisly circumstances because they can't seem to just bring in these laws and make them apply to lawyers and accountants and real estate people to stop them laundering money. Good for international relations. The Financial Action Task Force in Geneva is demanding it, has been for a decade, of Australia. Good for ordinary Australians who can afford to spend less money on nosebleed property prices. Why isn't it happening? Because the lawyers lobby and the accountants lobby and the real estate lobby is putting pressure on the government not to bring in these laws because they want to keep money laundering. There's more money, more profits in money laundering. Now, accountants, quite mystifying accountants on the rankings, because you would have thought accountants, would have sort of been middling. Here they are in the Roy Morgan 2021. This is pre-PwC at 38 points, well above journalists and politicians, that's for sure, and well above lawyers too. But of course, PwC has put the reputation of accountants to the sword because now most people know what accountants actually do, and it's pretty ugly. There are great accountants around, of course, but we know that there is also an accountant behind every scam in the world. The person that knows the numbers, the person that sets up the companies with the lawyers. Every scam has an accountant behind it. Anyway, like, share, comment below. Throw us a few bucks on Patreon if you can afford it. Thank you.